you guys are reading a lot of the same report stuff that we are, in the sense of just how close the Rose family is to the Brunsons. All right. So what do family friends do? They help each other out. So a positive way you can think about this is, and what I'm hoping is that, hey, the Mavs ended the season thinking, hey, we're going to get him at Fred VanVleet money, and we're going to get him at this $80-something million mark. Obviously, the Roses and Brunsons are close, and they're like, heck, if you're going to sign for 80-something million, we're going to get you up to over 100. And let's just say, what if we want to play the what if game, what if New York has another plan with the cap space and they want to spend it elsewhere?
Kyrie.
And instead they're saying, you know what, we're going to help you get up to $100 million though. We're going to put it out to everybody that we're prepared to do that. And if Dallas is willing to let you walk for 25 a year, then we'll happily take you. I don't think it's like all that, but like, just what if it's just them trying to, hey, we want to help you out and get more money. We're going to help rise this cost. We're going to make Mark Cuban pay and get the sucker over $100 million. I hope that's what it is, but I'm just saying, like, there is such strong family ties that if it was that case in the end, that it's like, oh, if we see that day one he signs with Dallas, which I threw out this number last week of 5 for 125, that it's, 25 a year, all this stuff. And it's like Dallas went from 80 something up to 125 million over 5 years. And then all of a sudden we see the Knicks go, oh, well, we just signed, DeAndre Ayton to a max, or we just went and got Kyrie. And it's like, oh, okay, well, it all makes sense. You just helped out, your buddy.
That's been my thought and my little conspiracy theory this whole time about him, which is sort of the same as what's happening with Kyrie. But it would for that to be true, it would have to be a couple of coincidences here, right? Like
yes, get off, stop.
The Rick Brunson thing could be a coincidence though, because he's coached under Tibbs before. He's coached with Tibbs before, so it's not like this crazy thing. Leon Rose just being there and Brunson, like that is all kind of a coincidence that there's so many connections for Jalen Brunson with the Knicks, that they have cap space and they got off of Kemba Walker's is not a crazy coincidence, because they could be doing something else, or they could just want off Kemba's contract to get at least $16 million in space to do something else. But it would have to be a couple of coincidences for that to happen, which would be kind of funny.
I'm trying to help Mavs fans out here, right?
And so if we want to help them even less. So the other thing about this is that Stein also reported the closest thing to certainty on the Brunson front at this juncture, as Thursday's deadline comes, which free agency is this Thursday. It's 5 p.m. Texas time. The actual start of free agency approaches is that Detroit and Atlanta are no longer being mentioned as potential destinations.
Atlanta.
Indiana. My brain just read Atlanta, Indiana. I'm
gonna equally laugh at Indiana. I'm telling y'all right now, ain't no way, and where Brunson's going to Indiana. I'm gonna
after that podcast with him and Duncan Robinson, I'm like, nope.
Just telling y'all that.
But I think that may support your theory that those two teams are out. Those two teams are out. They don't want to do it anymore. So there needs to be somebody. There needs to be a boogeyman somewhere for Brunson to get some leverage and to raise his deal up. Because if not, if those teams are out and the Knicks are out, who else is going to offer Brunson this money? Then all of a sudden the Mavs are just, they're just going up against themselves with these negotiations. It's just them versus Jalen. And so then all of a sudden he loses some leverage there. So the Knicks have to stay as this boogeyman in this situation. So the reason why the Mavs got here, though, is because the Mavericks had, according to Mark Stein, 2 chances before last season and in January to sign Brunson to a 4-year contract extension, just shy of $56 million, but the Mavericks decided not to do it both times. My theory on this is they talked about it behind the scenes with him, and he wasn't going to accept that either time, that he wasn't going to accept that money, and so they never fully extended it. That's been my theory. You can call it a conspiracy theory.
But Rick Brunson would be that adamant on record to ESPN, like he would be in the know, though. That's my only thing about that is I don't know if he does that story with McMahon. If he
that
knew
story was the start of the leverage play. I'm playing the music again. That story was the start of the leverage play. If your whole theory earlier that I've been saying for a while is correct, that story with Tim McMahon of Rick Brunson being like, hey, they could have offered this money and they never offered this money and they've done they've done him wrong and all this. That was the start of the leverage play is what I think. I think that's what kicked it off for the Knicks to then make a couple, coincidental moves, and then all of a sudden they have cap space and they're this boogeyman that's going to offer him this huge deal, and that could make his son $40 million more is what we're saying.
Yes. So coming up next after break, the Knicks do have interest in him. Like I'm not trying to say that. I don't think it's all.
This is a conspiracy theory from us. We do think that all the reports are that they do actually have interest.
Yeah, and I think there could be an in between too of like, hey, we're interested in you. If you want to come here, we definitely want you to come here. But all the stuff, could they also be trying to help, raise his value too, with Dallas? I think that could be true at the same time. But yeah, after the break, let's talk about some things of like why he would actually